Subculture, a very ambiguous concept which we understand by heart but fail to put it into words. For example, when we think about Japanese culture, we think about their polite manners. And if we think about English culture, we relate to the English love of football, English tea, so on and so forth. For the word culture is what enabled us to distinguish one society from another. For many who try to put the word into a fixed definition, I found the word of T.S. Eliot the most relevant. As a British-born writer, his notion of culture extends beyond the library, the opera house, and the theatre to encompass the whole of everyday life. For Eliot, the word culture encompasses all the characteristic activities and interests of a people. Derby Day, Henley Regatta, Towers, the 12th of August, the Cup Final, the dog races, the pin table, the dartboard, Wensleydale cheese, boiled cabbage cut into sections, beetroot in vinegar, 19th century Gothic church, the music of Elgar, and so on. As much as people understand about culture, very few truly grasp the meaning of subculture. From the word, it literally means a smaller subset of the bigger term culture. However, the reality is the total opposite of that. For subculture is a rebellion culture against the norm, mainstream culture that we are all familiar with. The concept of subculture is correlated to the concept of hegemony, a theory developed by an Italian philosopher named Antonio Gramsci. Borrowing the words of Stuart Hall, hegemony refers to a situation in which a provisional alliance of certain social group can exert total social authority over other subordinate groups, not simply by coercion or by direct imposition of ruling ideas, but by winning and shaping consent so that the power of dominance class appears both legitimate and natural. And subculture is exactly that, the resistance of the subordinate against the dominant within our hegemony society. Some examples of existing subculture include punks, skinhead, homosexuality, and etc. A modern-day subculture, which we will be studying today, is the sneaker culture. For those who live by the code of sneaker culture, call themselves sneakerheads. And sneakerheads are people who collect, trade, or admire sneaker as a hobby. To narrow down our search field within this subculture, we will be focusing on a sneakerhead celebrity known as Benjamin Kix Kapelushnik, with the made-up middle name Kix, indicating his relation with sneakers. Benjamin is a young entrepreneur who started trading and reselling sneakers since the age of 15, and today, at the age of 18, Benjamin already made millions. To look more deeply into Benjamin's success, and going by with the theme of visual culture, we will be looking into Benjamin's Instagram profile. Why Instagram profile? There are three main reasons. First of which is that Benjamin's reselling e-commerce empire is built entirely online, and he mainly uses Instagram as a marketing platform for his business. Second, he has a huge Instagram following of more than 700,000 followers. And lastly, there's his active posting habit. With more than 1,000 posts thus far, his Instagram profile is a fair platform for us to investigate more about his life. However, with more than 1,000 posts on his profile, it will be impossible to study every single picture. Hence, we will be focusing on three main elements which appear the most on Benjamin's profile: the celebrities, his possessions, and his reselling business. Scrolling through his Instagram profile, the first thing to notice will be the frequent appearance of famous hip-hop celebrities such as Drake, Travis Scott, and DJ Khaled. The fashion of sneakers had always been part of the element of hip-hop ever since the hip-hop subculture started. Thus, it is logical for many of Benjamin's biggest customers to be relevant artists. However, the idea of hip-hop merging with sneakers wasn't always as popular as today. One group which made great impact during the popularization process is Run DMC and their song My Adidas, which was dedicated to showcase the band's passion for Adidas trainers. That song helped landed a deal for the group worth over 1.5 million US dollars, the first ever endorsement deal between a musical act and a sportswear company. This deal happened right after an iconic moment witnessed by a senior Adidas employee as tens of thousands of fans raised their Adidas sneakers into the air as the group performed in Madison Square Garden. Hip-hop, streetwear and sneakers together is a wave of subcultures currently overtaking the mainstream fashion. The rise of streetwear fashion is what subculture set out to achieve. However, in this particular case, it might be overachieving to some extent. In the paper Fashion, written by George Simmel, fashion is a perfect representative of humans' dualistic nature, the need for individualism to separate yourself from one another, and the need to social to blend in among the others. The reason fashion is so successful within the human society is because by following fashion, people can be both at the same time. By merging outfit onto your own liking, yet not too far off the spectrum, one can express both his or her desire to be unique, yet still can fit into social circles. Other than that, the main purpose of fashion is class division, separating those who earn greater amount and lesser amount. In George's argument, he argued that the constant shifting of fashion we observe is due to the lower class trying to copy the style of higher ones, thereby crossing the line the upper class had drawn and destroying the uniformity of their coherence, causing the upper class to adopt a new style in the end. Streetwear and sneakers rebelled against that. With streetwear, the norm of lower class is adopted by higher earners, such as famous hip-hop artists we mentioned earlier. Nonetheless, even within the subculture, class system exists. Despite of the rank of these sneakers are not divided by their retail price, the rarity of the item does. Indirectly, that is translated into a price difference within the reselling market, a slightly more transparent class difference that serves the same purpose in the mainstream fashion, which is to separate people according to the size of their bank account. The next element is possessions. From Benjamin's profile, it is not hard to spot his show-off of his expensive outfit and car, changing accordingly to his choice of sneakers. By fitting certain color scheme together, the outfit will present itself as a pleasant aesthetic towards his social media audience. It is important to take note that the outfit he assembled to go with his expensive sneakers are in the same price tier as those sneakers in the sneaker market, i.e. very expensive. To calculate the total value of one of Benjamin's outfit, we will be deciding the usage of retail or resale price based off how rare the item is. As a result, the total value of this particular outfit is a staggering $5,625 US, a rather expensive outfit for a beginner 18 years old entrepreneur. But why? What's the reason behind for all this expensive item to tag along? Surely, for a sneakerhead, collection of sneakers is all his desire, right? Then why is there a need to purchase all these other possessions? The answer to this is a psychological term known as the Diderot effect. Settling at the heart of our consumerism society, the Diderot effect explains the difference of one being the master or a slave of his possession. Denis Diderot was a philosopher and an art critic. In his essay, Regrets on Parting with My Old Dressing Gown, Diderot explained when some new material possession doesn't fit into the unity of all previously owned items, one will either try to throw away the new item or reconstruct ourselves around the new item. As for Diderot, the latter case is true. He replaced all his furniture within his apartment just to fit a beautiful gown his friend gave him, rendering broke in the end. Feeling ashamed, Diderot entitled himself the slave of the dressing gown rather than the master of his possession he used to be. The final element of discussion from Benjamin's Instagram profile is his reselling business, with pictures of him holding bags filled with sneakers, trading with famous celebrities. It is a raw experience of face-to-face trading and dealing between seller and buyer. This reselling market that exists outside of the mainstream retail market is a byproduct of the sneaker subculture. Again, something subculture is striving for. Riding upon the wave of hip-hop and streetwear, the reselling market of sneakers is blooming nowadays. With a net profit of more than $380 million, the reselling market of Nike is twice the retail profit of Skechers, the second highest income sneaker company. However, this whole reselling market, which sneakerheads think they had created, is part of Nike's marketing strategy. By releasing limited supply of shoes every week, collaborating with different brands and celebrities, and releasing limited edition of shoes, the reselling market is kept alive because there is a demand for those who did not get their hands on those limited editions. Rebelling against the mass production method popularized by Ford, Nike is following the subculture trend, providing the customer enough, but not too much, keeping alive the crave for the latest pair of Jordans, the latest collaboration sneakers, and etc. In conclusion, with the current economic value and popularity of sneaker culture, it is definitely here to stay for a long time. However, in my opinion, with all the arguments made earlier of the class division of sneaker subculture, sneakerheads falling into traps of consumerism via the Diderot effect, and the reselling market control by the industry giant Nike, the sneaker subculture is slowly losing its essence as a subculture, slowly replacing and becoming the mainstream fashion.